Nobody there.
Nobody there.
Nobody there.
Okay, we got something there. What is that? What is that? That we would hear female voices up in this area. When you mentioned the female presence.
Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Twin Ports Paranormal. My name is Victoria Main. I'm here today with Harley, one of our regular Twin Ports Paranormal guys, and one of the newer members, Terry. Thanks for stopping by, Terry.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
So today we're going to talk about a house in Superior where Harley, you used to live there, correct?
Yep.
And how did you end up investigating this house? How did they reach out to you?
Well, we've had a couple of family members. My aunt and my cousin had passed there while we were there, and we always were going to try and figure that, just the cost of the house repair. We figured it was going to be too extreme, so I sold the house, and we always figured something's going on, but we wanted to find out for sure. So we emptied the house. We got everything all moved out, and a week before the sale and the signing, we decided to do an investigation. So we got some evidence, some stuff kind of weird. There's a lot that we can't bring forward right now. Some of it's personal. So we decided to give it a shot. So like with our SLS shots, there's no mistaking if something shows up in front of the screen. It's either a human or it's a spirit. There's no furniture in the place, no coat racks, and nothing that would create an image.
Right.
So it was good that we did it. It felt decent to find out that something was going on.
So you say you had indications that there was something going on there.
Correct.
Was that anecdotes that your family members had told you, or?
I believe that. We were sitting one night. We were sitting and I was sitting in my chair. We were watching TV. My cousin was sitting in her chair, and I could visibly see an orb go across the ceiling from my peripheral vision. And right then I knew that something's going on. It takes a lot for me to see something like that. So we put cameras up. Originally, Reggie and I put cameras up, and we started finding these orbs going around. And we had one camera in the porch area. Now this is a sealed porch, and the door latch is good. Everything's fine, but you could see an orb coming like through the door, and then going in the house or coming towards the camera. And like I said, it was winter. There was no dust. There was no wind. And on this SLS, that's not the SLS. It'll be the following one. We'll see that particular area.
Oh, okay. All right. So the first clip we have today is an SLS clip, and that. Why don't you give a little bit of the background on that? The figure that we see there.
The figure that we see there, you'll see two figures. One will be a spirit. One will be myself. If we played the film all in its entirety, it'd be long. But I believe it's my cousin Mel that had passed away in the house. Because in the very beginning of the footage, he was trying to get his balance with a leg that wasn't working, and he's leaned against the mantle of the fireplace. And once he got his balance, it seemed like when you die, they say your body comes back, you're whole again. That's what we're thinking has happened there, and we had a pretty good experience with that.
And Mel was known to lean against that fireplace in life because
he would have to lean on, even with his prosthetic leg, he would eventually have to lean on something.
Yeah.
So the deal with the mantle, everything there used to be a lot of stuff around that chimney, around that mantle and everything, and it was all removed when we moved out. So when he had come back, well, it was pretty much would be even for him to where his arms would normally reach out.
Okay.
So it seemed like about his height.
Huh. All right. Well, let's take a look at that first clip, and you'll see what Harley's talking about. So the figure on the left is...
That's me. The figure on the right is what I figure is Mel leaning against the mantle.
with his arm extended to lean on the mantle.
Right, so see, I'm standing back a little bit. He's standing forward, so he looks a little taller.
Yeah.
And we were discussing, raising raising the hand, raising the arm, and trying to get him to copy and do the same thing, which eventually he did.
Yeah, keep that one up.
At one point.
No, you lift your arm up by him. See Harley waving. I don't see you waving.
Constant movement with that
Can you tell us
leg.
your name?
Yeah.
That was the leg that he was missing.
But the object is like standing by the fireplace.
See, he's looking
Because
down.
if it's opposite,
Yeah.
it's like right there.
Yeah. Over here? Be closer to us because you look at the feet. Is he over here?
Yeah, keep coming closer. You're okay. Now you're about to say something. Now it's like panicking.
Yeah.
That's why.
It's like your hands almost touch it. It's panicking.
Don't goes away. Don't freak out.
Yeah, right in there.
Definitely no physical contact.
Yeah.
And what's crazy about it is it's like you're the same size now.
Yeah.
But it's bent. It's like bending away from you.
Mm-hmm. I don't even have to walk away.
Reach again. That is crazy.
Oh my God.
You're almost
leaned
touching
back
it. It's
to
like you're
avoid
almost
you
touching
almost.
it, Harley.
Well, I'm trying to figure out. And it's going further too.
Yeah.
And gone.
What are you doing?
Boom.
Mm-hmm.
You got too close.
Now I'm up against the mantle.
Yeah. Yeah. That's really strange. The way when you stick your arm out, you can see that figure go back. I mean, it's just
Oh, it just gets erratic. It just wants to get away, and like I don't. We've had a situation with Terry in an investigation where she's held out her hand, and we've asked the figure to, can you touch Terry's hand? And Terry says, "Can you touch my hand?" And you can see where it just comes over. It basically reaches right into her hand. It's open. So she's really good at a lot of things here. I'd really like to introduce Terry. She's our newest member of the team. She's been with us for a little while now. She's into paranormal, probably about as thick and sick as anybody on the Travel Channel or wherever. And she gets up and watches these things all the time. So she has some real good interactions with the spirits and things that we've done in our past investigation. It's just absolutely phenomenal, which we are going to bring in the future.
right.
It's going to be really interesting. I like that. I never asked her. I said, "What brought you to really like the paranormal?"
I knew I was going to be asked that. I've never had any experiences my whole life. I always wished I did, due to deceased friends and relatives, wishing somebody would reach out to me. But I don't know. I'm just obsessed with it, and so thankful you guys took me on.
That's like my thoughts with moonshine, obsession.
So Terry and I were talking a little bit before the show, and you were recently told by a woman that you may be a sensitive, and that was not something that you really thought, but now you're starting to think maybe that's true.
I'm starting to wonder, and I didn't even know this woman. She was being introduced, or we were being introduced to each other, and she just leaned forward and said, "You're a sensitive, aren't you?" I said, "What?" It had never even crossed my mind. So, but now, the last investigation we went on, when we went upstairs, and I got to the second to the top stair and got just instantly dizzy, nauseous. I just had to grab onto the railing, and even going down 2 levels to the basement where we were set up, I was just like an inner tremor. I was just shaking, and I don't know why.
She was literally shaking, and you could see her just vibrating. It was amazing.
And it wasn't from fear, it was just internal.
So that sounds like maybe you might be kind of sensitive then.
I'm
At least
starting to
your
wonder.
your body's manifesting some some you know, kind of the signs
Right.
of being sensitive to what's
Yeah.
going on.
I sure hope I am.
When we were talking about looking for new members and everything, and we discussed, Rick and I discussed Terry, is I think we really need to get her in on the team, because some of the stuff that she seems to be in contact with, and she doesn't even know it. Yeah, it's beneficial. We're able to find things out, and we really enjoy her. So.
Well, yeah,
Thank you.
she's new, but she's going to be around. So
Oh, yeah. I'm not going
I'm sure
anywhere.
you'll be in and out on the show here too. So that's cool too. All right. In the meantime, let's get back to our house. And this next clip is really I've never seen anything like this, and I look at a lot of this stuff. So just tell us what leads up to this clip. I don't want you to say too much about it, but just tell us what you're doing when you lead into this.
Well, we were not in the house all the time. We'd been moved out, and we wanted to set security up in case somebody came in. And we had 24-hour security cameras. And when we had filmed this, it was extremely cold. The outside fluorescent lights were pink. They never come bright white. And the door was tightly latched. When you shut the door, it stayed shut. And apparently, this one particular night when we were getting things going, I don't know if we had a visitor, I don't know what was going on, but if you see the door, you see as bright as it gets. There's nothing in the porch or the outside that would create that door to be as bright as it is. So you just have to take a look at it and see.
And this is, now you're there, this happened on an evening when you were
That
there
happened on an evening,
investigating.
yes.
But you weren't in that part of the house when this,
No.
okay.
So, and we tried to duplicate it. We tried to do everything to replicate the incident. We even grabbed the door and opened it up, and we never got a bright light. We might have got like a pinkish light from the outside. Nothing bright.
Yeah.
So it kind of stumped us.
Yeah, well, it's pretty amazing clip. So let's go to that second clip and
I mean, there's nobody with a flashlight out there. And like I said, we tried to duplicate that, and we couldn't do it. No cars going by, because you'd have seen it in the window on the right.
Right,
That
right.
was a front window. You would have seen lights.
right. Wow. And the strange thing about, you know, when Jim and I were looking at this clip, putting it together for the show, the strange thing about it is that you can see out that other window, you can see the light that's sort of the glow of the porch light. And this very bright light does not impact that pool of light at all,
No.
which is just impossible.
Yeah,
it's
it's just-
impossible.
Don't walk into the light, right?
Yeah.
That was bright.
Well, and then you also see after that flash and the door, you see the door open a little bit. You see that orb that kind of floats across, and it's
Yeah, that's kind of weird. You know, like I said, they different times that we'd pull the cars on them, you'd see the orbs like going through the door and from the front. So it wasn't unusual to see an orb go through there. Sometimes there was two. So we don't know who it was, but we did have 2 deaths in that home.
well, somebody likes to make an entrance. I'll tell you that.
Yeah,
Somebody's
absolutely.
just not a quiet personality. I think maybe somebody who was pretty flashy. You know.
Yeah,
Make the grand entrance.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because we looked at that clip a number of times and kept looking at that window, the window where you can see the light from the porch. You can kind of see that glow, and that glow does not change one iota when that incredibly white light blasts forth. It's just it's impossible.
Like I said, you got the outside light, a fluorescent light, as cold as sin. It's basically the end of December.
Yeah.
And that light is not white on the outside. That fluorescent unless it hits a certain degree, then it'll get, brighten up. Other than that, it's a pinkish light.
Well, and you can see that when you look through the window. You see
Right.
that sort of warm glow of that light, which is entirely different than the bright white light that hits that doorway. It's just the strangest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, we've got a number of things that happen in there, and like some of them was personal, it seemed, and then a lot of it that you'd see where the orbs are, and well, we had 2 stationary cameras in the house, basically on each end with the entrances, so it was a pretty good deal.
And so, you got a number of EVPs on this night. Our first one here is kind of funny. So this, I don't know if you can see this, but I don't want to tell the folks.
Oh yes,
What it says. So, but tell us what you're asking when this happens.
Before we do anything, we do a protection prayer, and we want to make sure we cover our bases. And what happened was that we didn't get into exactly discussing the prayer, but we just decided, hey, we're all going to go outside and step out for a minute, and we'll be right back in. And we got an EVP that questioned us because we weren't thorough on why we're going outside.
Yeah.
So you're going to play that EVP, you'll hear it. It's when we heard it, it was like, well, we knew it wasn't us.
Yeah.
we knew it was happening. So
Yeah. All right. Well, let's play that first EVP.
Or guess who messed up outside for me? All of us. Or guess who messed up outside for me? All of us.
That's fun.
you hear the voice. It's got that little echoey, kind of weird ring to it as you listen to it.
Well, and it's funny because you guys say we're just going to step outside for a second, and then this voice goes, "What happened? Like,
Where'd everybody go?
what happened? They're leaving."
Why are we going?
Yeah, that's amazing. Okay, what's our second one here? Oh, and this one's good because,
Oh yes.
so in this one we had talked about what we heard on this thing, but then I actually heard it. Jim and I actually heard it twice. So I've put it on there twice. So
Yeah, it does repeat itself. It's very, very light at first, and then the second time is definite.
yes, and the second time has attitude, which I just find really interesting. Let's go ahead and play that second EVP.
Earlier on a video, we caught a bright light at the front door. Do you know anything about that? Did you cause that?
See, Amy was there, and she was asking if anybody was there that if they had managed to create that light in the door. Are you the one that had anything to do with that? And that's where we got the response.
Right,
And that
and
was
you-
a real definite no on the second one. You could tell.
Right, and the first one's kind of a quiet no. It's like no, and then a couple seconds later, no. You know,
Yeah.
so that's kind of strange.
Well, it's what happens. A lot of times they repeat themselves. I don't know if they're breaking the barrier as they're coming through to answer, and the second time they're more clear. And sometimes you'll hear a click or you'll hear a snap, and you'll hear EVP. It'll be strong, and everybody's always talked about breaking this barrier in order to contact between their space and ours. So if we're hearing a dim one and we're hearing a real loud one, it's a possibility that they're on their way through trying to say something. We don't know for sure.
Yeah, like they're not sure if you heard them the first time, so
Right.
they kind of come at it the second time with a little stronger attitude, like that one. It says no, and then no.
I love that one.
Yeah.
It was so cool just to hear, a definite, raspy,
Yeah.
real raspy no.
Well, it's very interesting when you hear EVPs that seem to have an attitude, that have a perspective. Like you
Right.
can hear the emotion of it in the voice. It's not like a computer voice.
Right.
It's a voice with emotion behind it. Very interesting. Oh, okay, so this third one here,
Just stop. I think that was still Amy talking and asking a question, and I'm not exactly sure the question right now, but I know that we were told to just stop. So.
oh, no, we got one before that.
Oh, what's that? What's that?
So don't say what it is, because we don't, but I think
Oh.
it's this one, right?
Okay. Yeah, we'll have to play that one here, and then I'll give an explanation. on
Okay. Go ahead and play that third EVP, Jim.
Hi Mel, my name's Amy.
My name is Rick.
I came here tonight to meet you and talk to you. You think you can talk to this? We have a recorder right here. You can come close to it and say something. We'll be able to hear you.
That's interesting because, it's almost as if they're talking to each other. You know?
Now, see,
like there's
Rick-
more than one spirit there.
Right. Well, Rick and Amy were there, and they were questioning, of course, and they introduced themselves, and like you said, I'm not sure if there was somebody else there at the time. But I know it was just them as investigators that were there, but like the voice said, "Who's that?" No, maybe there was something else there that was in question about. Because why would they question them when they introduce themselves? I'm Amy, I'm Rick, and all of a sudden, who's that? So,
Yeah, it could be that the spirits are aware of something else
Right.
that's there,
that
or
we're not aware of, right?
right, or there's a spirit. There's more than one spirit, and they're like, who's that?
Talking back and forth.
Right, talking to each other.
Well, in some houses, if you have a situation in Superior, West Duluth, some of the more haunted places, there's going to be more than one spirit rolling through. And if you cleanse a place, that doesn't mean you're absolutely going to have it cleansed, because spirits travel. You might have somebody else just roaming through, like at the homestead. The children that were there that died, they weren't from that house. They were from the house that was across the valley that burnt down. And they ended up being at the other house. So it was, they move. And just because you get rid of some, that doesn't mean somebody else is going to move in.
Well, and that sort of implies that they could be transient. Like a spirit could be in your house for a certain period of time and then just move on. Like
Right.
Go somewhere else.
Right?
Interesting. Okay, let's go to our fourth EVP here, and you can tell us what this is on the backside.
I came in and last you told you a part of that was $76. So I know it got cold. Yeah.
That one was very clear right out of the gate.
Yeah,
Just stop.
Rick and I were talking about something, and Ron was there, and I was discussing something about an item I had to buy, and what it cost, and it was for the home, and then we had to install it. It was $65. I remember, for the item that I had to put in. And it was like somebody who didn't really want to care for what the dang thing costs, or like I was really going out of my way, to make this right. And it said, just stop. Now I'm kind of thinking that that might have been a family member too, because they took pride in the house, and here I am complaining about what it cost, So yeah, I could see that that could be one of the family members that passed away telling me that.
That kind of sounds like a family member.
Mm-hmm.
Man, you're complaining. They're like, just stop. But that one was so clear that even like on the first play of it, Jim and I were sitting there. We were both like, "Oh, just stop!" You know, you could hear it.
We get some clear ones. We don't. Well, you know, we have some we bring in here that are we don't understand. They're kind of an unknown thing, or it sounds like a different language. And sometimes we'll ask the public, you know, hey, could you give us a hint of what this is? And even on our site, we'll put it on our site, and we'll get responses from people that, you know, this is what they're hearing, which is nice because it gives us an insight as to, you know, maybe it's something there that we're not hearing properly.
Right.
I myself, being hearing impaired, I hear one thing, I could pick it up and I could put it on there, and I could think of what it, tell you what it says, but it'll take like another person that'll listen to it. Say, you know what I'm hearing? And when they tell me, then all of a sudden it clicks. You know, then I could figure it out.
Well, this next EVP is very much that sort of thing. It sounds. I don't know what the word is. I have really, really good hearing. I don't know why, but I hear really good.
I'm jealous.
Me too.
And I listen to it repeatedly. And either the word is a different language, or I mean, I just couldn't find what word this is. So maybe this could be one of those ones that you can, you know, ask people online to.
Yeah, this would be nice if you got an idea. If it sounds like a different language, it definitely has an accent of some sort. So yeah, if we got input on that, it'd be well appreciated.
All right, let's go ahead and run that last one, Jim.
Yeah. It's weird. Oh, excuse me. Yeah. It's weird. Oh, excuse me. 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 Oh, excuse me.
So let us know what you think, guys.
Yeah, I got nothing on that one. I mean, I just I just don't know. Well, good stuff, guys. What do we next time? We're going to do a place out in Morgan Park. I think our next
The old
episode.
Morgan Park School that was just recently tore down last year.
Okay.
So we're going to be all set for that.
Okay.
I want to thank everybody for joining us too, by the way.
Yeah, and Terry, thanks for being with us today. I'm sure we'll see you again. See you next time on Twin Ports Paranormal.